back to the channel, Blossoming Daisy. I'm late by a week, but please forgive me. I was supposed to drop a video last week and next week, so what I'll do is this video and then I'll drop one next week. Then we'll go back to the normal skip a Monday, okay? I'm just trying to keep our schedule of which Mondays we skip. Okay. What we have been doing for the past 3 videos, we focused on having a relationship with God, the beauty of it. We looked at the relationship gap and what happens if we do have that gap when we worship God within the church and then go home and it all dwindles away. And then we spoke about, what's the third one? We spoke about the that other Monday, spoke about God being our puppet in a way, like he must do what I want him to do if he's God, he loves me, hey? So it's only natural when looking at Matthew 22 is at 37 that says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your soul. And then the second greatest one is love your neighbors as you love yourself. Okay, now that means we love God, then we love human beings, because if we just lived in heaven, all we need to do is just interact with God, like love God, and automatically it will permeate amongst the masses as we worship him as the Lord. But we are people who have a relationship with God, as in we are Christians, but we still have to live on earth. Now that's the tricky part, ne? We have to live on earth and we have to live with other people. So that is why we are doing a series I'm calling the fellowship, fellowship, engaging with other people. So the word fellowship, we often use it when we speak about gathering with the saints, being at church, but it actually means companionship, friendly association, sharing a particular interest with someone. So fellowship, coming together. So I share a surname with my family, so it's sort of a fellowship. I share a workspace with some people, so that's also fellowship. I share a faith with people, and that's fellowship in the church. So we are constantly needing to engage with other people in our lives. So we're just going to use the umbrella word fellowship, fellowshipping with other people. Okay, and then in fellowshipping with other people, the main aim is that we maintain the Christ-like nature, okay? Because there's no point in us having a relationship with God and then everything else says nothing about God. Everything else in our lives says absolutely nothing about God. The people I go to school with have a different idea of who I am. The people I work with just know a rude smile. Then the people at church just know this holy smile who worships, And then my family is constantly annoyed because I'm very selfish. There are so many dangers when we cannot have different kind of lifestyles. The aim of being a Christian is that it just permeates throughout. There's just one. If I pick a person from your workplace and I pick a person from your church place and I pick a neighbor, all of them should be able to say one thing about you. That's the aim. Okay. So what we're going to be doing in the next videos, this video is serving as just an introduction to what we're going to be doing in the next videos. So we're going to be unpacking, as I said, all relationships concerning us. We're going to speak about respecting others, conflict resolution, being accountable, not judging others, trust, accepting constructive criticism and being able to give it, being genuine, friends we pick, loving one another and learning to live in peace. Gossip and whatnot, minding our own business. I'll see how I just group these together, but these are the topics that I have in mind for now. You'll see as we unpack in the following weeks. So, people are different. People being different complicates a lot of things. You know, God is God. God, we see different aspects of God as we go through different situations, but God is still God. You know, God is just God. He's the same. He doesn't change. We just learn who he is as life unfolds. We see something new. We find out something new about him, but he's still God. You know, we can rely on the fact that he's God and he doesn't change. But with human beings, it's a totally different story. That's why it's so hard. It's so complicated. It would be so easier if we just stayed in our corners under a rock. We just quickly get to heaven, you know. So we are different as human beings because we have different religions. We come from different backgrounds. We have different traits. We have different personalities, and we have to come together and live with people. Worse, I want to focus, a lot of this is, I want to focus it on just being tailor-made for women. For women, we have so many traits that are considered natural for women. That the PhD syndrome, the pull her down, you know, it's so normal to just talk about someone, gossip, bicker, fight, jealousy, criticize. We just have so much unlearning to do when we come to God, because that's not the Christ-like way. So I remember a few years ago, my friend who usually does my hair was not available, you know, like I have literally one person who does my hair, and it's been a good 10-15 years, like one person touches my head. So she just happened to not be around, and I really needed to do my hair. I wanted to do braids. Like, I chose the worst hairstyle. Like, braids is in those tiny braids that take forever to do. So through word of mouth, I found a lady in the township, and you know, I went there. Got there 7 a.m. in the morning. She started doing my hair. Whilst it was the two of us, you know, we spoke about life challenges. You know, it was a great topic, you know, great, you know, fellowship, engaging with her, you know, it was okay. By 10, 11-ish, the first friend came through, you know, and now started speaking about the neighbors. So-and-so did this, so-and-so was slapped by her husband. So, like, they just started talking about other people, you know, so our conversation completely changed when the other friend came. So I kept silent, I kept to myself and just sat there as they did my hair. And another friend came through. Like, by 2 o'clock, there were probably like 8 people in that house. And all of them were helping, you know, when you're braiding the hair. I appreciated the fact that there were people who were helping, so I would go home sooner. But I really hated the conversation. I vowed to never go back to that girl again. So when my friend is not available to do my hair, I literally just stay with no hairstyle because I learned my lesson. So I figured they discussed everything. They literally even got to a point where they discussed some doctor and her wife and his wife, and how this girl was dating the husband, and I actually knew the person they were speaking about. I literally wanted to close my ears because they were just speaking destruction and nothing else. And when one of the friends would go home, they would start speaking about the friend that was going home. I remember when the third person had to go home, she was like, I'm afraid to walk out here because I know you're going to start discussing me. Like, you were discussing other people and you're okay with it. Now you fear because they're going to be speaking about you. I really wished I had my earphones that day. It was a long day. But it's so normal in the society we live in to do all this. But the entire point is that we have to live in the world and still maintain our Christ-likeness and not be poisoned by the world, because it's so easy to just slip into what they were talking. I could have just added, oh, and this and this and this, and you know, the doctor you're speaking about, I know, I heard something this, you know, we could easily slip into that. So the point is being in the world but not be tainted by the world, and understanding, let there be a demarcation that this is Christ-like, this is not Christ-like. Okay, this is where I draw the line. This is not what I do. So that means, let's go back to the compartmentalizing I was speaking about. I should be able to pick a neighbor, pick a church folk. Yeah, you should be able, let's focus it on me. You should be able to speak to a church person, a person I go to church with. You should speak to a neighbor, speak to a colleague, and all of them speak the same thing about me. And looking at the fact that if our lives are compartmentalized, we are very different in certain spaces, it does two things, because it takes away, it steals from us, because it steals from our relationship with God. Because we are, as I do things that are worldly, I am tearing my relationship, or I am damaging my relationship with God. So it steals from my relationship and the benefit of having that relationship with God. And then secondly, it steals from God, because now he's not represented the way he should be represented on earth by a Christian. Okay, so yes, the entire point is that we are in harmony. We are in harmony with ourselves wherever we are. We are in harmony. We are in agreement with ourselves. In the workplace, at home, within my family, at church, what's this other thing? At school, wherever I am, it should be the same person, so it doesn't destroy my relationship with God. So let's read scripture as I lay this foundation. We're gonna have fun. John 15:12. Okay, John 15:12 is just referencing to the fact that as the church we should love one another. Jesus Christ is speaking to his disciples. He says, "This is my command, that you love one another just as I have loved you." As he's speaking to his disciples, he's speaking amongst Christians. Love one another. So this is just exclusively for the church. We should love one another. Do we love all our church folk? Romans 12:16 verses 8. Romans 12:16 to 18. Okay, I want to read it in the Amplified. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be haughty, snobbish, high-minded, exclusive, but readily adjust yourself to people, things, and give yourselves to humble tasks. Never overestimate yourself or be wise in your own conceits. Let me read the last line in the ESV version. It says, never be wise in your own sight. Like, be your own Google. Verse 17, repay no one evil for evil, but take thought for what is honest and proper and noble, aiming to be above reproach in the sight of everyone. Let's read in the King James. I just want us to get the full context of the verse. The King James version says, the last line says, provide things honest in the sight of all men. You know, we're getting the full picture, eh? And verse 18, you can read the whole chapter. It says a lot, but we're still going to come back in future as we explore the different topics. Verse 18, if possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. You know, we often want to accommodate or live peacefully or love the people within our own circle, you know, friends, family, and disregard everyone else. But this scripture is saying everyone. You know, the first one I read in John was saying in the church in the context of Christians, but now this one is like everyone. You know, everyone. They're not just the chosen few, but everyone around you. You can take time and read this, let it sink in. We're gonna dissect it in the future even more. Take time and read the entire chapter and yeah, get to know what God is saying. We are going to be reading a lot of things that I myself don't like reading, but it's in the Bible. We can't pick and choose what we listen to or what we take and do from the Bible. So basically in Romans, what Paul is doing is he gives guidelines for living as a redeemed people in a fallen society. So he's just basically telling us how to behave. We come from the world, so we don't know how to behave with other human beings, in regard with being Christians. But now he's teaching us, don't think of yourself better than others, be humble, do lowly tasks, accommodate everyone, live in peace with everyone. Take time, read it, let it sink in. And then let us read the last scripture before I say goodbye. Chapter 6. Please do go read these scriptures again. Chapter 6, Luke chapter 6, verses 32 to 35. It says, if you merely, okay, this is going back to the inner circle thing, that we want to love those who love us, and just focus on our friends and family. Let's read the scripture. If you merely love those who love you, what quality of credit and thanks is that to you? For even the very sinners love their lovers, those who love them. And if you are kind and good and do favors to and benefit those who are kind and good and do favors to and benefit you, what quality of credit and thanks is that to you? For even the preemptly sinful do the same. And if you lend money at interest to those from whom you hope to receive, what quality of credit and thanks is that to you? Even notorious sinners lend money at interest to sinners, so as to recover as much again. Verse 35. But love your enemies and be kind and do good, doing favors so that someone derives benefit from them, and learn, expecting and hoping for nothing in return, but considering nothing as lost and despairing of no one. And then your recompense, your reward will be great, rich, strong, intense, and abundant. And you will be sons of the Most High, for he is kind and charitable and good to the ungrateful and the selfish and the wicked. I guess the last line pulls us back in, like sons of the Most High, because he is God, he did the same for us, so we should do the same for other people as well. As I said, go back and read this, let it soak back in, because wow, we are really going to have fun with this. We are really going to have fun with this. I really don't want to read some of this. I really don't want to do some of this. But hey, love your enemies and be kind and do good, doing favors so that someone derives benefit from them. We often, let me focus on the people that I love and do good. I don't just want to do something just for the sake of doing. This is a message that's hardly ever preached, that just be kind, just be good, knowing that that person won't be able to repay you. Just do something nice for someone, knowing that they can't do anything back for you. Guys, yeah. Let's meet next week Monday as we dissect even more what we need to do to fellowship with others and maintain our Christ-like posture. Basically, how to behave.